Are you looking for a more selective way to place your ink smooshes onto your cardstock? This technique might help you out. Every technique video is narrated live while I'm doing the technique, so you're getting a real-time view of how the whole process works. Pull out the supplies I'm using and create right along with me, pausing as you need. Before we get started, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel. I appreciate it. There are times when you want your ink smush to land in a certain place on your cardstock. You might want it to be a certain shape, or you might just want it to be in a certain location. So in doing this technique, you're going to either use a stencil mask, and this is the actual mask from inside the stencils. So we're not going to use the outside for this, although this technique obviously would work for that as well. But we want to make a little heart, so we'll use this heart stencil here. And I've also got a piece of plain acetate so we can put down some random masks in a more controlled manner. And that's because you can see right through this. So for our first sample, I've got a few watercolor brushes here. So I've got a kind of a purpley color and a purple pink color. And I'm going to apply them to my mask. And as you can see, it wants to bead up, which is a good thing. And I'll apply this one down below here, and they're going to blend together, which would be kind of cool. And then if I pick this up and spritz this with just a little bit of water to get it more activated, I'm just going to go ahead and place it right onto my cardstock. And because there's surface tension here, I should have at least a second to flip this over without it dripping everywhere. So say I want to put it right here, I'm going to drop it. And then I can see how that ink smush is moving around. It's if you press too hard, you're going to get it to smush out everywhere. So I'm just going to press gently. And the surface tension is going to take care of the most of keeping all of everything in place around my desired shape. So just let that sit there for a minute. And I'm going to grab some tweezers here and just pick this up. And there we go. I have a beautiful heart. I've got this little bit of residual ink, but it's going to stay in place because of that surface tension. And I can play around with that if I want to move it around a little bit. And then I can just go ahead and let that dry and have a beautiful liquidy heart ink smush. For the next example, I'll just use a piece of plain window sheet or acetate and use that to place down my smushes. So because this is clear, I can really manage exactly where I want that to go. So I have three different shades here. I've got a green, a really bright green, and kind of more of a dusky blue. And these are going to look really great together. So I'm not afraid to smush them on top of each other. So we'll start with this bright green. And I've just put some of the ink on top of my window sheet here, and I'm going to spray it because I want a little bit more of a loose spray. But again, as you can see, when I flip this over, it doesn't drip. So it's not so saturated that it's just dripping off of the sheet. There's some surface tension there, which is going to help. And I can go ahead and smush that down and lift it up. And you can see because it likes to pull into the center here, I'm going to get some kind of fun little lines going on here. All right, so I'll wipe this off. So now this is a little wet, right? I don't have to wet down my next color as much. So this is an emerald green color. And again, I've put some on my sheet here. I don't really have to spray this. I'm going to do it just once here to get a little bit of movement going. But now I can selectively place where I want this to go. And so I've avoided this area over on the side here because I just have this small piece, and you can see like I can even just, oh, I like that little drip there. I want to keep going with it. I can definitely be more selective about where I'm placing these drips. And I can even bring this back in and kind of help move some of that color around and get some really cool looks here. I can pop my acetate, so that way it's not going to smush right down into the paper. And just kind of roll these guys in place there to give myself some more movement off of the edge. So I can go ahead and clean this off. And as you might have guessed, we're going to take this dusky blue and do the same thing. Again, just a little spray. This time I am going to fold it right away because I just want to place some of this blue on top of these other colors here. So again, I'm not putting any kind of smushing over on this side because I don't want it there right now. I'm just going to place the smush kind of over on the side here. So I'm going to go ahead and dry this, and when I come back, I'll show you a little bit more what you can do. All right, so now that my piece is dry, I still have that acetate, and it's got kind of a mix of the darker dusky color and the green on it now. But I'm going to use this again and just smush this on the dry paper to get some more texture. And if I push a little bit more, I'm going to get some bigger smushes. It's just going to lift up and leave those nice water spots right on top, which is exactly what I was looking for. So sometimes doing these kinds of smush techniques, it takes a little bit of patience because you want to have more texture. So you have to dry your card first, whether you let it air dry or you use a heat tool to make that happen a little faster. And then you can come back and add some more texture to that. So there you go, 2 ways to use some clear acetate or your stencil masks to create some really cool ink smush looks. I hope you enjoyed this technique and you add it into your toolbox sometime soon. When you give it a try, share it out on Instagram and tag me at NicoleWatt I always love to see what your creative mind is thinking. Thank you so much for spending a little time with me today, and until next time, happy crafting.